Shut up and sit down.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? Well, I am Simon from Nerd Safari, and I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a trip back to 1995, where it all began. So let's dive in to Bad Boys.
You forgot your boarding pass. Oh, shit. And boys will be boys. Bad boys. What you gonna do?
Now, I think we can all agree the main thing we love about Bad Boys is the chemistry between the two leads.
Look at you. Can you stay focused? What are you talking about? I'm focused. Yeah, focused on all this scattered ass around here.
And when you think about it, Will Smith was really only known for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when this was made, and Martin Lawrence had worked on a couple of movies, but was pretty unknown as well. And in a movie where you have a ton of explosions and stunt scenes and car chases, you really need something to fill in the gaps between all of that action. And in this case, the chemistry between the two leads does exactly that.
Well, you know, if I recall correctly, the last couple dead bad guys belong to you.
Please, you ain't even trying to compare body counts. Should I keep going all day? I'm out.
Talking of action, this was director Michael Bay's directorial debut, and it really sets the scene for the rest of his career. Now you have all of his trademarks here. You have smooth camera pans around the heroes, you have car chases, massive explosions, really intricate action scenes, even jumping through the air with two guns blazing. You got it. No action movie is complete without a convincing, scary villain, and Tchéky Karyo plays Fouché in this movie. He's kind of like Hans Gruber if Hans Gruber was better dressed, and he's completely cold and ruthless and thoroughly dislikable, and a great counterpoint to the two lead heroes. You may not notice it when you watch it now, but this movie was shot on a shoestring budget. For an action movie, it was actually made for $10 million, and Michael Bay was so invested in making it that he used his own Porsche 911 for the hero's car, and when the movie studio refused to fund the final action sequence, Michael Bay put in $25,000 of his own cash to make it happen. Michael Bay was not a huge fan of the original script and therefore allowed Will Smith and Martin Lawrence to pretty much improvise wherever they wanted to.
We were wondering if we can borrow some brown sugar.
One of my favorite improvised scenes is the convenience store scene, where the clerk improvises the line, "Freeze, mother bitches!" And our heroes of course respond with the immortal line, "No, you freeze, bitch. Now back up, put the gun down, and get me some tropical fruit bubblicious and some Skittles." There's a line in the movie that may confuse you where Martin Lawrence's character says he won't eat food from Dennys because he don't like the way we've been treated. Maybe that sounds a little bit harsh, but back in the 1990s, Dennys was actually accused on numerous counts of racism from employees, paid those lawsuits to go away, so maybe Dennys deserves everything it gets. Tia Leone had a scary moment in this movie where she was acting in a scene with Martin Lawrence's stunt double. The next thing she knows, she wakes up in the hospital. The last thing she remembered before that was being hit in the jaw with an AK-47. She was actually stood off of her mark when the stunt double went to hit her, got cracked in the jaw, legs went up over her head and knocked herself out on the floor. Pretty rough. But thankfully she was okay, managed to get back and finish filming. The version of the movie that we know and love that starts with Marcus Burnett and Mike Lowry being carjacked was actually shot in Los Angeles several weeks after principal photography finished in Miami. The reason for that is that they had a much darker criminal undertone to the original start to the movie, and the heroes were not in it at all, and Columbia really wanted to make it a lot more comedic, set the scene for the rest of the movie, and I think we can all agree that was probably a smart move. Also, before casting Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, the two producers, Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson, were planning to use this movie as a vehicle for two prominent comedians, Dana Carvey and John Lovitz. That would have been an extremely different movie. Thankfully, although both of these producers had had a ton of success with movies like Top Gun and Days of Thunder, they had also worked on a highly successful movie called Beverly Hills Cop. Now, Beverly Hills Cop originally was designed to be a vehicle for Sylvester Stallone, but they switched to Eddie Murphy at the last minute. Enormous hit, and that gave Bruckheimer and Simpson the confidence to recast Bad Boys with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, creating the franchise that we now know today. So there are a few small tidbits of trivia about Bad Boys, but remember, Mike Lowry hates picnics in his car, and sometimes tropical fruit bubblicious just is not enough. So please, support your local restaurants, order something delicious, and tip your delivery driver even if he drives slow enough to drive Miss Daisy.
What you gotta do when they come for you.
Peace out, my friends. I am Simon from Nerd Safari. I will see you next time.
Shut up and sit down.